What's up, everybody? Welcome to Loud's Movie Files. I am he, your host. Joining me for another fun-filled installment of this wacky craziness that we've created is little brother Jace. How you doing?
Doing good. Another fun day of pandemic podcasting.
Is there any other kind?
I don't know anymore.
Chief, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Good deal. So, as always, lots of stuff to break down, lots of stuff to discuss. I guess we should basically just get started right away with the Hollywood Reporter interview with Ray Fisher, where we finally get the lowdown on everything with his beef with Warner Brothers executives, Jeff Johns, Josh Whedon, the whole deal. And there's a lot to break down. So let's just get started here. We start off that Josh Whedon did not want to comment on this deal. So as you know from watching both versions of Justice League, Ray Fisher's Cyborg had his role drastically cut and reduced. And there are lots of schools of thought on this. Now you can apply some logic, but you can also apply I don't know what's wrong. He's just a complaining black guy. He should be happy that he had a job. And he wasn't that great anyway. But of course, that's the stupid approach. There is some nuance to it. I can see sort of some of the other perspective on it, but I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide who is actually in the right with this. So when Josh Whedon came on board, he had the basic objective to change the tone of Justice League, not make it so bleak and dreary and doom filled. It's supposed to be happy, like those Marvel films that make $1 billion. We have talked a million times probably on this show about how Warner Brothers was making the wrong play of trying to just do what Marvel did without putting any of the work that Marvel Studios did. It's like going on Instagram and seeing a dude, shirtless and going, yeah, I want to look like that. And then instead of going to the gym, just trying to work on your Photoshop skills. And that's basically what Warner Brothers is trying to do. They didn't want to do any of the work. They were just like, yo, we can make $1 billion. We got Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and a few other people too. So they wanted to change Justice League to make it happier, make the audience happy, and feel great about it. And Josh Whedon essentially said when Ray Fisher came to him with his concerns about how much his character was changed from what was originally done with the Snyder version to Josh Whedon's revised version, Whedon said, it feels like I'm taking notes right now, and I don't like taking notes from anybody, not even Robert Downey Jr. Because Josh Whedon worked with Robert RDJ on the Avengers. And other sources confirmed that Whedon was similarly dismissive of Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa when they also questioned their new dialogue. So it wasn't just Ray Fisher, of course. And apparently there were some people going, hey, we can't make Josh mad. So that was the whole crux of all these complaints that Warner Brothers was getting, the high-ups were getting when people would bring issues to them about Josh Whedon. There's some thought that maybe they didn't want to have this issue because, hey, we can't replace Justice League with a third director. That would make our film look awful and terrible and make it inferior at the box office to this Thor Ragnarok film. And who wants to see a third Thor film? We got Superman and Batman. So anyway, a huge discussion point came with Jeff Johns, who's a comic book writer, and Warner Brothers DC Films co-chairman John Berg, and Warner Studio chief Toby Emmerich, who basically said, can't have an angry black man at the center of the film. And the thinking with that was, we can't have an angry person. This is the trying to look at it from a this is super racist. It's I don't quite get the fact that black guy has to be angry I mean, his father did make him into a robot. He didn't want it. I mean, we have Daryl on The Walking Dead. I'd never describe Daryl as a happy person. I wouldn't describe Rick Grimes as a happy person. But Rick, but Ray Fisher's cyborg would then be the angry black man. Let me stop there. Get your thoughts on that before I go further. Chase, what do you think?
Okay. For if like the scene where he basically says like F you like in the Snyder cut, you know he's a little mad. You can change that piece of dialogue. Like I mean you can just like bump that or some whatever dialogue if you really want to change that. But the rest of his arc was not an angry arc. It was like a redeeming arc. Like hey, I'm mad about being losing my mom, but I am by the end of the movie, I am happy and integrated with myself of who I am. I don't think that makes you a mad, angry black man for actually being able to evolve from a state of frustration to understanding like, yo, this was I mean, it was done out of love, what was done to me, because it was my father's way of keeping part of me, my humanity, even though I'm part, machine. It's like I mean, it's almost maybe that's a scenario where if you don't have the full Snyder cut, maybe like that scene where it's like Cyborg and his parents, maybe that wasn't finished. And if that wasn't finished before the Snyder cut we saw on HBO Max, maybe
we saw that scene in the trailer for one of the very first trailers for Justice League. We saw Cyborg running and playing football in the stands.
No. I'm talking about the end scene, like when he's actually messing with the mother boxes, and he's actually like with his parents, like, hey, you don't need to be part of this. Like, yo, just come join with mother box. Like the end, so maybe if that's not there, you have this angry narrative. But I don't believe that because it's like
it could also reshoot it like they did everything else.
I mean, if I'm pretty sure that cliff note is there, like, hey, here's what we're gonna do at the end of Cyborg, because as Zack Snyder and Ray Fisher say, it's like Cyborg was the heart and soul of the movie, and that seems like even if I didn't get to it, I put a note on what I want done with that scene. It's like he is going to be. He's the real protagonist of this movie, so we are going to get to that, even if I haven't shot that. So I'm not buying that angry black man, because that was not. He had one scene he was angry, and then after that it was okay, evolving acceptance. Like, so I don't buy that
one. Okay, Chief, what do you think?
It was two different movies. Like it was literally two different movies, man. So the portrayal of pretty much everybody in the first movie compared to the second movie sucked. Not just because I remember when Ray Fisher pretty much came on and he was like, I've been cut, and we were kind of like, maybe, but Cyborg was just such an awful character for that movie. We're like, well, how much could have been missing? And then we later learned, so he portrayed like everybody's character in the Snyder Cut was better. I liked Aquaman better. He was less, hey, yo, bro, what's up, cuz? Because, I hated he was always like, all right, yeah. And I was like, dude, like, just be Aquaman. You ain't got to be, you know what I mean? You ain't got to be bro Aquaman. Just be Aquaman. And so, and the dialogue, like I said, with Ray, his dialogue was totally different. And he was weird in the first one. Because, we were like, he's hiding in the bushes on Wonder Woman and doing all kind of weird stuff on the first one. And, so he wasn't just angry, he was just weird too. Like the character they cut so much of him that when they pieced him together, they just made him into a weirdo. And we all were like, yeah, Cyborg sucks. Like he didn't really have to be in that movie. Even the ending when him and Superman pull the motherboards apart and then they blow, the motherboards blow up and they're just kind of laughing. And he's like, Superman's laying on one side, but like that got cut. That wasn't even in there. Like everything was better about the Snyder Cut. So whether Ray was mad or Wonder Woman was mad or the other guy was mad, like everything was better. He was and personally in his he was right to complain. He was right to complain. This whole time he was like, man, Ray, just do your thing, man. But then when you realize this dude had every right to complain. They were like, you know what? We're gonna put you in about 3% of this movie. Good luck. So yeah, I'm glad we got to see Cyborg because his character arc in Snyder Cut made sense. I wasn't like it was a wasted character. You know what I mean? So this, and anytime you say something as a black person, let's just admit they're gonna label you angry. You know what I mean? The minute you speak up, everybody in the office is getting coffee. You could bring in the coffee, and you'd be like, Dad, I didn't even get a cup. And they were like, oh, you always complaining. You always mad that you didn't get a cup. Like, yo, I bought the coffee. Oh, so now you going, so you never get a break anyway. So no matter what you say, whether you say it in a calm tone or you're upset, like you have to be almost Obama-like in order to not be labeled an angry black man. Because anytime you voice your opinion in a less than passive way, oh, that dude there, he's mad. Look at the black ones, just like they said in the encyclopedia. They get angry, So it just, it's going to be with us for a while. The way we're viewed for airing our grievances. We can't air grievances as a black person because they're mad. 400 years. It's
get over it. Yeah, exactly. That's why I think what Marvel Studios does is so important. They have Nate Moore, who is a black dude. He's a producer. He has been an executive producer on some of their best films, most notably Captain America: Civil War and Black Panther. And it's no coincidence those are some of the best films because they have a lot of black people, and Namor is helping to make sure that there's an environment where the creative people involved understand what goes on with black people and it's not misrepresented or there's confusion and the cast can't come and voice any concerns. Jovon, I want you to hear this conversation that Ray Fisher had with Jeff Johns, who's a comic book writer and a comic book writer that I'm a big fan of. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt on a lot of what in this report didn't always look good. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let me know what you think about this. So, Ray Fisher feels that he has a responsibility as the black member of the Justice League to not make him look goofy, silly, like he said in this article by the Hollywood Reporter that he takes it very seriously. Justice League came out before Black Panther, so he wanted to make sure, now clearly Marvel Studios had other black heroes prominently featured in teams and groups, so it wasn't like he was breaking some new door, but this was key in the DC Extended Universe. So Johns was passing on some notes, right? Like, hey, instead of playing Cyborg like Frankenstein, why don't you do him more like Quasimodo? And Fisher said that Johns demonstrated like dipping the shoulder and kind of like the hunchback look. Fisher was like, this kind of looks like he's being a little bit of a servant, like he's not treating himself like a man. And Fisher said there's a difference between portraying a character who was born with a disability versus one who had been transformed by trauma. And he kind of felt Cyborg was a modern day Frankenstein, and says in the article, I didn't have any intention of playing him as a jovial, cathedral cleaning individual. What's your take on that?
I agree with him because, I mean, this is not just one man's point of view. This is what historically Hollywood does to people of color, at least people of our color, when we're in roles, certain roles, especially when we're a part of an ensemble that happens to be mostly white. We're either comic relief, the magic Negro, or we aren't as capable as our counterparts. And that's something that in today's society, we can't continue to one portray that and perpetuate that so that people. That's the thing about art, man. It bleeds its way into our real life because people will definitely assume that, oh, the black guy in my office is that guy. Like Chief said, just sticking up for yourself when you know you're being abused or treated unfairly or what have you, that environment can lead to assumptions about your character and who you are. Oh, he's just angry. Or she's the angry black woman. He's the angry black man, etc. We have to deal with that, and that's not just black complaint. That is black reality. So I agree wholeheartedly because if he comes in there and portrays that character as the hunchback or in a hunchback type of manner, he is a servant to the rest of the Justice League who are seen visually as more capable and more important and not the poor disabled, the poor freak show that this guy is saying that he should have tried to portray that character as. That's nonsense. If anything, you should portray that character with as much dignity and pride and someone who is yet to scratch the surface of their power.
Right, like we see in the Snyder Cut.
Right. And we see in the Snyder Cut. I was just ready to go up, Sergeant.
Yeah, so Johns has he's done a lot of comic books over the years for DC. He's been one of their most prolific writers. He kind of got his start doing Stargirl, and that evolved into him getting a big gig on Justice Society. And in Justice Society, JSA, during his run, he had Mr. Terrific, the new black Mr. Terrific. He made him the leader of the team. He was not the servant dude. He was the decisive leader. He wasn't undermined as the leader. He was, no doubt the guy in charge. Batman looked at him as a peer. They didn't treat him. So in the comic, he treated him just fine, right? He created or was co-creator of the New 52 Justice League with Jim Lee. He put Cyborg on this team. Cyborg previously was a member of the Teen Titans, as you know. So John, I don't go with the narrative that Jeff Johns is racist, but I feel like he is probably thinking, hey, I know what I'm doing here. It's okay. So Fisher goes, it was like he was assuming how black people respond rather than taking the advice from the only black person, as far as I know, with any kind of creative impact on the project. That's a real problem. That's why I mentioned that Nate Moore deal. It's like, dude, if you only have one black dude and he's on camera, nobody's gonna be like, yeah, he's right. We need to fix that. Jay, you nodded. What do you think about that?
I'm even just it's like you have Joe Morgan in there. You should have if you don't want to listen to the younger guy tell you kind of, hey, here's my notes on this character. You should listen to a veteran African American actor. Like, is this the right look? Because you elevate, like you said, he elevated him to very important in the comic book, and he was like, yo, in the 21st, I kind of remember when he did it. He was like, yo, for the 21st century, Cyborg is one of the more interesting characters that we can use. Like, he is the 21st century, the way we're going to utilize him. And to kind of do a very different take on him in the movie wouldn't have done a service for anybody. It's like, yo, he needs to look like, because, like you say, he is the only non-majority member on the Justice League, so he should not be played enfeebled for any reason. It's like, no, he has to look like a peer or more. It's like, I know how to he needs to look, like I said, he needs to look better than them, other than Superman, because, Superman is what he is. But again, looking at his work, you're like, I don't think you were wrong, but it's like, you definitely should. It's like, you have, it's kind of that, take a second when somebody's giving you that criticism. Like, okay, I'm not going to say instantaneously what is right or wrong. Let me internalize that, and let me come back with you the next day, or because I told you something, but you pushed back on it, and I might need to look at that because I might be jumping out there wrong, and I need to apologize to just get everything right. And as we saw from the Snyder cut, it's like, nah, it's like this dude is exactly as important as he should have been, and that my toes hurt. I get no lines. I'm just a stalker in the night. Yeah, that's not the look for him.
All right, so now this is the thing that I thought was probably the most interesting of this article. There's several things, but this really stood out. So, of course, this is over that booyah line. Now, in the Teen Titans cartoon, this is Cyborg's catchphrase, and he says it basically in every episode. I have since gone back and watched the Teen Titans. It's kind of funny when he says it. And people love the show, and they all act crazy, goofy, silly on that show. So in that context, him saying "booyah" is just consistent with how everybody else is, right? Not Fisher. So Jeff Johns really wanted to have that line put in the movie, and he asked Zack Snyder, was like, "Yo, we gotta find a way to get booyah in there." And Snyder was like, "No, dude, no catchphrases." And because Snyder was doing his thing, no one could change it, right? And to kind of make Johns feel a little better, Snyder put the word on some signs in the film, like the Easter egg, like, "Hey, here's your booyah." No one's gonna say it, but there you go. And so when he left, "Yo, let's get booyah back in here." And Fisher was like, "I don't have a problem with the word, but it does play different when it's live action versus a cartoon." And he referenced black characters in pop culture with defining phrases like Gary Coleman's "What you talking about, Willis?" Jimmy Walker's "Dynamite." And he felt like it seemed weird to have the only black character say a catchphrase. You guys are all nodding and shaking your heads. What do y'all think? Go ahead.
Hey, look. We don't need to do a look. And people who don't understand what I'm going to say, hopefully y'all out there who listen understand what I'm saying. That's soft shoe. That's tap dancing. That's showing your teeth real big with a nice grin. You're not asking Batman. Look, I know that it's the cartoon and that's his catchphrase for the cartoon, but that's the damn cartoon. You're making a live action movie here. And you need to not try to box anyone in. Why would you do that to the one black character you have? And come on, we know why. Like that's, for example, if Batman was on the Teen Titans and his catchphrase was "Time to boogie, yo," is he gonna? You think Ben Affleck's gonna say "Time to boogie, yo"? Do you think that's gonna happen? No, you're not gonna get him to do that. So why are you asking a brother to booyah? This is not 1992, man. And that's another thing. The young black man portraying the young black man, let him portray the young black man. Stop trying to give him dialogue that he's just, come on, dude.
And in Brave and the Bold, Aquaman has a catchphrase that he says all the time. They weren't like, "Yo, we gotta have Aquaman say this."
No, we don't need it.
Chief, what do you think of this, man?
I think that we got lucky that he wasn't tap dancing and he let him hate. You know what I mean? You're in the middle of this thing here. It is what it is, man. If they can make a black character being docile in a sense, comedic, they will. You know what I mean? Feminine. It's what they do. And that Teen Titans, the cartoon, it's silly. It's like a parody of a cartoon. Like, you know what I mean? Like they big sweat in it. Like if somebody's sweating, all of a sudden they'll get the big head with the sweat. Yeah, this is So why would you want it? If you're trying to separate and create your own identity with this new movie. Like you're saying, okay, we have these different things out, but this is us here. This is what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like Loud Movie Files, for example. We're doing our own thing out here. We don't. I've never watched another podcast and been like, you know what? We should take what they're doing and add it to here, and then we've got catchphrases and stuff. So you know what I mean? Time to record.
It's showtime, folks.
Yeah, with the jazz hands, you know.
Right.
It's not us. So, you know, it's people. You know, people. There's always somebody trying to do that to one of us, pigeonhole us, put us in something like that, do something like that. But, you know, shout out to Snyder, man, for just keeping it real, man. Like, I never really want to see another Joss Whedon movie again. I hope he retires.
You may not.
I hope he retires, man. I'm like, dude, you butchered this movie. You know, like, even if the cuts was close, the cuts weren't even close. Sometimes I just sit there and when I get a moment alone and I'll think about Justice League and I'll just be like, yo, I saw two different movies. It wasn't the same. The Amazon scenes were greater. I mean, the whole thing, like, yo, did somebody come in and was like, listen, you got to cut this thing down the size. It's too long. And he was like, you know what, you're right. I'm going to cut it down and you know, Fisher, yeah, you're new here. We're going to just wind down your parts just a little bit. Give me a booyah. And we're going to take roughly 95% of your dialogue. Good luck, sir. You know, so yeah, man, just, you know, these catchphrases, I mean, you know, I don't know. You know.
You mentioned something. I got to get your take on this, Jason. So, not only was Ray Fisher unhappy, and Whedon was pissing off apparently everyone, including Jeremy Irons, played Albert. That's not a good career move to piss off somebody like Jeremy Irons, anyway. But so the article says, and one Justice League star ended up taking her complaints not only to the head of the film studio, but also to the chairman of Warner Brothers. A knowledgeable source says Gal Gadot had multiple concerns with the revised version of the film, including issues about her character became more aggressive than her character in Wonder Woman. She wanted to make the character flow from one movie to the next. The biggest clash, sources say, came when Whedon pushed Gadot to record lines she didn't like. He then threatened to harm Gadot's career and disparage Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins. While Fisher declines to discuss any of what transpired with Gadot, a witness on the production, who spoke to investigators after that one clash, Josh was bragging that he'd had it out with Gal. He told her he's the writer and she's going to shut up and say the lines and he can make her look incredibly stupid in this movie. A knowledgeable source says Gadot and Jenkins went to battle, culminating in a meeting with then Warner's chairman. Asked for comment, Gadot says in a statement, I had my issues with Whedon and Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers handled it in a timely manner. All right, Jace, what you got?
That's lawyer speak for you, damn right. She's like, we put the smack down on him. He understood his role and shut his mouth. That's again, they understood Wonder Woman has more chance of being a successful franchise on its own, and we need to actually keep the golden goose happy, far more than the retread writer, who's probably doing your greatest Marvel hits. And they were rightfully like, yeah, let's go with these two, especially because it's like Patty Jenkins is like, wait a minute, you're disparaging me. I'm not even in this movie. So, you're saying that mess. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not gonna fly because you aren't a direct director. You're a replacement. I'm signed on for at least 2 more movies. We can actually get you removed. And I think there was another line in the article where he's like, he was basically threatening Gal Gadot's career if she didn't say. It's like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you really don't understand you're on your. I mean, this is pre I mean, this is before all the other scandals came out, but it's like, yeah, that's not gonna fly. Like, I'm actually making these dudes money, and they don't need you, dude. Like, we will say you weren't a director, you were here for 5 minutes, you were just, making sure you weren't really a director, and I can step in and actually make this damn movie. Like, there is nothing that keeps you here, dude. So please believe Warner Brothers had said, we will get this, and you are smart, and you will take and drag us through the mud, and we will tell Mr. Whedon that he needs to learn his role and shut his mouth.
Well said. Okay, so this is another part that went wild on social media. So multiple sources on the show Krypton, which has since been canceled on Syfy, uh, said that the show's creators were passionate about a couple of things. One, they wanted to do some non-traditional casting, and that Regine Page, who became the breakout star of the Netflix show Bridgerton, auditioned for the role of Superman's grandfather. But Johns, who was overseeing the project, said Superman could not have a black grandfather. The creators also wanted to make one superhero character, Adam Strange, gay or bisexual, but sources say Johns vetoed the idea. If you watch Krypton like I and Jace have, you know that they do in fact go have that Superman does have a no, he doesn't. He doesn't have a black grandfather. It's they make General Zod black, and they do very not so. Hey, did I miss something? They do kind of tease that Adam Strange may be bisexual without implicitly stating it. Jeff Johns has a rep who is killing like in a bad way, like destroying credibility, killing. Um, because he's speaking to the reporter here, and these statements are just so bad because it's like he's generating them with a monkey and a chimp on the side of him giving him advice. Jeff celebrates and supports LGBT characters, including Batman, who in 2006 was reintroduced as LGBT in the comic book series co-written by Johns. As for the role of Superman's grandfather, the rep says Johns believed fans expected a character to look like a young Henry Cavill, which would be the first time ever that DC cared whatsoever about any synergy with what the heck is going on in their TV universe.
I'm sorry. Henry Cavill's like, am I even Superman anymore?
He's like, can someone call me?
I'm sorry. Like, can I actually put that writing down when they actually asked me, hey, am I Superman? Like, see, Jeff Johns said I was Superman, and he's still, head of Warner. I must still be Superman.
Like, really? So Page is like one of the biggest stars right now. He is like a rocket ship Nova star who is so on the rise that Marvel Studios hired him to join the Secret Invasion show because Marvel Studios is not stupid. Page issued a comment. He said, hearing about these conversations hurts no less now than it did back then. But clarifications almost hurt more, to be honest. Still just doing my thing. Still we do the work. Jovon, what you think about that, man?
Oh, God, it just makes me wonder who is running the shop over there. Warner Brothers DC. Like the inmates run, and I can't even say the inmates run the asylum because at least some done something right by now, other than the Snyder Cut. They've had their victories, Wonder Woman, Snyder Cut, Aquaman.
These are the victories in spite of their stupid lack of direction.
Dude, it's like shooting with your foot. It's like you're aiming the gun, but you keep doing this, putting your foot wherever you try. It's like, stop shooting yourself with the foot. You don't have to do it.
It's like you're using your foot as the sight.
You're using your foot as the sight. I don't understand how they keep on doing this, how they keep making these mistakes. Look, you remember when Hyundai was the joke of the automotive industry, when like Hyundai's engines were dropping out of the cars and blowing up and carrying on, right? What Hyundai did somewhere along the early to mid 2000s is they started to poach staff from their rivals, not rivals, but competitors that they were trying to be rivals of, like Honda and Toyota, etc., Subaru. they started to make better cars when they did that.
But isn't that what we think DC was trying to do with Josh Whedon? Like they thought they had gotten a golden goose director from. I mean, like Age of Ultron, it was successful. They thought, hey, we did this is a great idea, but he's an asshole.
Sometimes you get it wrong. And sometimes you get it wrong, Jay. You sometimes get it wrong, unfortunately. And that's the thing about it. Whedon has a history. And this isn't the first time he's, landed himself in the headlines. It's just nowadays in this the changing cultural climate and our media, our digital media, and our need to always have the up-to-date information on everything. These aren't Hollywood's dirty little secrets we sweep under the rug no more. It's all out there now. And whatever you do against you is in the court of public opinion. So it finally caught up to Joss Whedon. They have to poach the talented people if they want to turn at any point, if they want to actually be a rival of Marvel, and they want to get the movie going, the TV going public on their product, right? You have got to start You have got to start poaching from your biggest competitor, and they're not even. It's not even Marvel's not even your competitor. You're looking way up at them, and you're never going to gain ground with this kind of stuff. You're never.
No, absolutely not. So last thing, because I feel like we could just do the entire show on this, and there's so much other stuff I want to talk about. So one of the writers on Krypton, Nadria Tucker, tweeted on February 24th. I haven't spoken to Jeff Johns since the day on Krypton when he tried to tell me what is and is not a black thing. Tucker told THR, Johns objected when a black female's character's hairstyle was changed in scenes that took place on different dates. I said, black women, we tend to change our hair frequently. It's not weird. It's a black thing. And he said, no, it's not. All right, so then they got to hear what the spokesperson says first, because this is the best. John's first spokesperson says, what were standard continuity notes for a scene are being spun in a way that are not only personally offensive to Jeff, but to the people that know who he is, know the work he's done, and know the life he lives. As Jeff has personally seen firsthand the painful effects of racial stereotypes concerning hair and other cultural stereotypes, having been married to a black woman who he's with for a decade, and with his second wife, who is Asian American, as well as his son, who is mixed race.
Okay, seriously? So you're telling me you shared a household with a black woman and don't know that she changes her hairstyle maybe 2 or 3 times a week? Like, even if it's like in public, you wear one hairstyle. As soon as you go home, you might wear a completely different hairstyle.
There goes the wig.
I mean, the wig's off, the braids are in, whatever. And it's just as black men, or we know that. It's like, okay, cool. Like, next week it's a different hairstyle. All you need is one scene change, and it would have been perfectly like, it's like, hey, I just talked to Kal-El. Hey, now I'm talking to the rest of the High Council and the Military Council. I went home and changed. Like, that's just, I mean, I don't know what he was, I mean, that must have been one of those dumb days that he just didn't want to hear something. And he was like, yeah, whatever. He's like, nah, man, like, I don't need to say you're wrong. Like, just say you don't want to do it. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, but can I go back to that Bridgerton one?
Sure.
I'm like, okay, I'm actually glad he didn't get that role as Kal-El's grandfather, because he's now going to make a whole lot more money being on Marvel as a TV show, because he wouldn't, I mean, Bridgerton probably, he might not have got the role if, he was, failed Kal-El's grandfather for a show that had like 5 scenes. If you've ever watched Krypton, it was like, hey, let's go back in this wall here. Oh, wait, I'm in another scene that's the exact same wall. We didn't even bother switching up how it was. So, I'm glad but yeah, and their casting, I would say DC's casting tends, as we saw from the Snyder Cut, could be good. They just don't know how to follow through on, like, making sense. Like, Birds of Prey, we saw their casting was all over the place, and it was like, it didn't make sense, and now you basically are starting from scratch every movie. Now you're going back, like they're talking of Black Adam. They're starting to shoot next week, and it's like this is the movie from Black Adam. Who's going to be 2 years from now? Who are these characters really going to be? Like, they're just whack.
You know what this reminds me of?
Go that, G.
Everybody has Josh Whedon when he did the thing, and they say, well, we're going to give him the reins. He's going to do this. There's checks and balances to everything. You've got a director. You've got somebody coming down checking to see if the movie's good. Then there's somebody who reviews the movie and edits it, right? So the editor's like, yo, hey, somebody come down and look at this. This is some bullshit. But it reminds me of Boomerang, when Eddie Murphy got mad at Robin Givens and gave my man the reins for the Sean J commercial, and he never went back and checked it. So then they're in front of the people, and Sean J's giving birth to the perfume, and everybody was in the joint horrified, and the one dude was like, yes, and everybody was like, and then she's like, it's all I can do to save your job, you know. And so I feel like they gave my man this because he was used to do the 7-Up commercials. Never had it, never will. The caffeine. They just let him run free, man. They just let this fool run free. And I feel like they did that to Josh Whedon. They were so confident in his ability to direct that they didn't even check up on him. You know what I mean? He was like, you want to go down to the set today? Nah, he's got it. It's gonna be great. It's a beautiful day. Let's get these 9 holes in. You know what I mean? And he was in that joint wilding. You know what I mean? He had a bottle of Irk and Jerk next to him, and he was sipping while directing. You know what I mean? The Cask and Cream. You remember that joint when? you know what I mean? And he was just in that joint, you know, just doing it up. Boone's Farm and Mad Dog 2020.
Like, give me some of that Boone's.
Yeah, and this is what you get when you drink like that. When you grab the Irk and Jerk and then you direct some scenes. So like nobody checked on him. Nobody was like, hey, what's he drinking? Man, that's Irk and Jerk. Stop the movie. You know, they were just like, yeah, drink up. It's gonna be good.
All right. Well, that was very interesting, and I just thought it was crazy. Speaking of crazy, Tyler Perry is developing a drama prequel series about the early life of his iconic character Medea for Showtime. Who wants at it? Jovon, go for it.
I ain't touching that shit, man. You had church folks mad at me. You are not going to have the church going public mad at me. Because, no.
Where's Gunner when you need him?
Exactly. Right. Like, can we call him in like, hey, Gunner, can you just comment on this one line? It's like,
oh, man.
Man, I ain't talking about that.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like, so I hate to say this, but who plays Medea early? Like,
is it a woman or is it a dude?
I mean, that's kind of the question.
Why don't we get old boy from Coming to America 2 who played Akeem's son?
I'm actually kind of intrigued. I'm like, who would take on that iconic role for some people to be like, I'm willing to take this burden on? Could be interesting.
That is a career killer.
For the drag queen.
If your agent comes to you like, hey man, I got
drag race winners in it.
I got the biggest break of your career. You know, I talked to Tyler Perry, and we got a series on Showtime, and you are who he wants to play Medea.
My real question is, why is this a drama?
A drama? Not dramedy.
You missed that description. It's a drama, not a dramedy. It's a drama prequel.
Got to see what makes Medea, jump high or
I don't think the people that want Medea want a serious Medea.
I kind of feel like that is not. This seems like a Warner Brothers project. Hey, what do people like? Let's do the exact opposite of it.
Let's do the total opposite.
You know what's funny though? It might work. He hasn't failed yet. I mean, he has an audience for Medea. I mean, he's made
He does.
30 movies, and they all. It's not like any of them bombed. Like so, like that audience. He has an audience who's going to go and see these Medea movies. And I'm not gonna lie, I have never paid to go see Medea, but I have watched it on, it's come on cable or whatever. I mean, it's not unfunny. You know what I mean? There's some of those interactions. I mean, it always reminds me of sort of like a black, what's the dude, Davy and Goliath. Like you remember Davy and Goliath, the little claymation joints when we was young?
Yeah.
And it was always a lesson at the end of it. Like they were going, and then there would be some kind of Christian lesson at the end. That's what it kind of always reminds. Tyler Perry reminds me of a black, Davy and Goliath joint where him and Davy walking through, and then they'll get into some adventure and they'll learn a lesson or whatever, on the grow one type shit. So there's always because I remember I'd be around girls and they'd be like, "Hello there," however she does it, and I had no idea what the hell they were doing. And like I said, a couple years later, I was watching. I was like, "Oh, okay." So that's where that's from. So women were going to see it. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? We as men were like, we weren't lying in a movie theater. I'm sure some of us got dragged out there to see it.
Right.
I won't lie about that, but there's gonna be an audience for this type thing, and he's probably making something similar to Old Girl. Well, not like sort of like Old Girl who has the show. The black girl. She just popped up like a couple of years ago, but she's really hot. She's got that that Showtime or HBO show where she's like a single black girl.
Issa Rae?
Yeah.
That's Insecure on HBO.
Okay. But he's probably trying to go for something similar to that, maybe.
Now
drama.
Now that you say it like that, it's probably going to do fine. I'm not going to watch it, but you're right. He probably will have enough to keep it rolling for 5 seasons. We're like, yo, this thing is still on when they announce the series finale. And like, man, remember we laughed about that back in 2021, and it's still going. So you know what? He knows his audience, and he doesn't try to cater to everyone else. So more power to him. How about this one? You guys interested in watching the Kanye West documentary that's coming to Netflix?
I'd rather spend the night trying to lick my own, and I will end it there.
There you go. Yeah, let's keep it PG-13 for the sponsors. Jay, what do you think?
Money business.
Let's be honest. Like we talk about Kanye is you want to see kind of the more ridiculous things. I don't know if he's producing it. Is this a VH1 behind the music kind of deal? Or is it like, hey, we actually got Kim Kardashian to dish some dirt, before the divorce. Like, I'm thinking, he has an interesting story behind what we consider his madness. And that's why we follow kind of what Kanye does. Like, we've had him as Dummy of the Week for all of 2020. There's definitely a series of amount of information on what this guy is. So I'm thinking it's a good market. I probably will check it out.
All right, the 2020 Dummy of the Year. Jovon, are you going to watch this Kanye West documentary?
No, unless it's because it's not going to be like Bad Trip or what was the other one? Bad Grandpa, like those live, like we're pranking people in the format of a movie type movies. Because that's what I would want to see out of Kanye. Just Kanye go somewhere and bug the F out. Because, everybody got a story to tell. I just don't give a shit about them all. And I definitely don't care about Kanye's. We watched the part of his life that we care about play out for the last 20 years. I don't care about the makings of this. And I don't care what he does on his spare time. I want to see Kanye doing some Martin Lawrence, hide up, running down the street, yelling at cars, innocent cars at that. I want to see Kanye wilding out. That's what I want to see. I like
which
the
we
train
saw
wreck.
all in 2020, right?
Hey, I like the train wreck.
Is Kanye gonna have any part in this?
Let's see. It's spanning 2 decades and includes footage and home videos of his work. It's said to include never before seen footage, his failed 2020 presidential bid, and just in case you forgot that, and the death of his mother, which is what I consider the end of good Kanye, good creative, awesome producer, rapper Kanye, and the spiraling madness that we are declaring our dummy of the week for so long.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the serious version of this. This could be like a documentary on mental health, because like you said, like that defining moment, we all saw that, and that's where the kind of whoa, this guy had what we consider his break. Like maybe it's like kind of hey, this is what mental health, mental issues can do to a person. Like even the Free Britney movement is basically like, hey, this is we saw her break. This is kind of maybe y'all want to talk about mental health a little more after watching what happened to Kanye. So another reason I would think to check it
out. All right.
Slavery was a choice, Kanye. There's no way I'm watching Kanye. I can't even believe y'all are watching.
They said he had mental issues.
Well, then him and his mental issues. See, hold on, before you segue. Here's the problem I have with rich people. You, me, Jovon, Jason, if we have some kind of mental issue or mental health thing going on, we don't have the funds to take off from our job and go get these things treated. These people are literally millionaires and can go and get the help they need and don't. So I don't care about their lives. Like I look at them and I say, you know what? It's regular Americans going through so much crap and need to go somewhere and work out their issues and can't because we have to keep going. There's mortgages to make. There's food to be put on the table. There's car notes. There's family to take care of. Sometimes people's jobs are tied to their health care. They can't go and spaz out and have that mental breakdown. He is able to go and get help and won't. And this is the problem that I have with Kanye's, even the people who don't get help for their mental depression and end up getting suicide. These are the things that make me angry about these things because I'm like, yo, you could have gone and gotten the help. You couldn't have gotten the help. Regular people can't do these things. You guys can go get the help you need, but won't. You're a millionaire. There's no, man, how are we going to make the mortgage next month? You can go and do these things. So when I see Kanye spazzing out and doing all these dumb things and saying these dumb things and just being embarrassing, going to an Apple store and getting up on the table, and I'm thinking to myself, yo, like, what happened, dude? You were Kanye who was like, George Bush doesn't care about black people. And then you went to this other Kanye and probably the death of your mother. But at the same time, you could have went and got help. You could have sought help and went and talked to somebody. You have people who want to see you right. That flew out. I haven't seen none of y'all since the pandemic came. Kanye spazzed out and those cats flew to where he was in Wyoming to see him. Like, you have people who want to see you do well, but you don't. So I want to see no documentary. I don't even want to see Kanye. I hope he goes away, man. Every time I you know what I mean? Just go away, man, at this point.
Speaking of go away and with the family, Caitlyn Jenner is actively exploring a run for California governor. That's my dummy of the week. I'm just spoiling it early. But fellas, real fast, Godzilla versus Kong. What you think? Oh, Jovon, you queued up. Tell me how much you love that personal human drama.
I'll say this, right? The human stories we mentioned this last week. I think we don't. That's not what we invested in this movie for. We don't care. Adding a cute little girl to it, I don't care. Adding a love story, don't care. Care less. My fundamental problems with this movie are everybody was asleep at the switch here. It's like, look, y'all really focused on the CG, appreciated that. But it's like, look, this weird company that is like a cross between Amazon and Umbrella that's building a Godzilla Metal Gear in Tokyo. They have a tram that literally took these people, and I don't care if you ain't seen it yet. I'm spoiling it for you because it's that dumb. They had in Pensacola. They built a tram from Pensacola, Florida, to Hong Kong. Was it? Am I right? Was it Hong Kong? They built a tram that could take them from Pensacola to Hong Kong, where they're building goddamn Metal Gear, but a brother and two teenagers could get right on the train, take this tram, and end up there in like an hour. And
hey,
there's
Jovon,
not one security guard.
Jovon, I need Brian Tyree Henry to be like Ray Fisher. Because there's some moments in that movie that's like, dude, you better represent better than this.
Hey, look, I really feel like, and that's the thing, if you know Brian Tyree Henry from Atlanta, you will watch like, who is this dude? Who is this guy? I give him that much. It was a total departure from what I'm used to out of him. I give him that much. Yeah. But it was just too much ridiculous things happening in this movie. It was just too ridiculous to the little girl taught King Kong sign language, and in itself, it's like, I'm tired of these Tame the Savage beasts. If King Kong was real, right? Do you? And here's another part. I'm sorry. How much they sedated King Kong? What the? I was about to cuss. I'm sorry. What the hell did they use to sedate King Kong? How? How, Sway?
They put some tricks in it, man.
What they use?
They put some flories, because you know once you take it, you hit the floor.
Hey man, there were certain parts I was disgusted, and you know they missed the real. If you're gonna go ridiculous, here's the thing. With all of that said, after Godzilla and King Kong team up to fight Metal Gear and beat them, and they do the whole stare down thing, instead of like this is what should have happened. We should have got the epic monster. Like remember in the fist bump, Jeff, but remember in Predator when Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger gave us the dude, they should have got one of them
so bad because I was gonna just go
bad.
Free. I was waiting for it. It's like yes, come on. I was like
I wanted that.
You know what got me though? I didn't hate the movie. Jovon was totally right. There were parts of it that you're like, what? But the size disparity. Now, Godzilla beat the hell out of King Kong. Let's just get that out of the way. He could have killed him easily. And then it's funny because then King Kong easily defeated Mecha Godzilla while the regular Godzilla was struggling against him. But that's neither here nor there. Here's where I'm at.
Hey, Chief.
Godzilla he looks to be about 8,000 feet tall. And he's swimming through shit.
Standing in the sea.
Right. And Kong is not that tall. But when they fight, they're the same height. And I'm like, hold on. Kong looks to be about 200 feet shorter than Godzilla. But every time they fight, they right there on each other. And I'm like, hold on, do you not like they made Godzilla or Kong? One of them is disproportionate. Godzilla was huge. He's been huge.
Yo, Chief, I got you. He ate a mushroom every time he saw Godzilla coming.
Oh, he had to.
He borrowed some from Mario.
And Chief. He was a king or something? His parents made an axe? He was
Dude,
suspect.
come on, man.
Hey, Chief, you touched on that right there. Metal Gear beat the holy hell out of Godzilla. You ever see somebody get whooped on the street? You know how somebody they'll be talking to them. I'm gonna whoop on your ass today. That's a good whooping. Like when somebody they talking to him, right? That's how Metal Gear was whooping Godzilla. It was not
I love that
fair.
you called him Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
Oh man.
Oh,
yeah. All right, fellas. It is that time of the week. Who are your nominees or dummies of the week? Jace, who you got? I know you told me who you got. Can I handle the truth?
Which one was my dummy of the week? I forget.
I just said, can you handle the truth? I called game. ESPN calls game too.
Oh my gosh, my man. Oh gosh, man. So my dummy of the week is Mr. Paul Pierce. I know again, Paul does not need money from ESPN at all to do whatever he wants in his life. But at any point when you have like random ladies twerking behind you, that is 100% not the time to do Facebook Live when you work for a Disney company. Like, you know what? I'm going to do Facebook Live. This is the move of the day. And none of your friends, hey, Paul, I know you don't need the money, but you enjoy having something to do. So maybe not go on Facebook Live. You know, don't put that on Instagram. Just kind of, we'll put that on.
Random dudes know that. Random dudes. They're not like, hey, it's a bachelor party. Let's do a IG Live.
Again, every dude should know. It's like, if your boy's a little too drunk and he's like, nah, man, we'll put this on our face. Nah, hey, man, we got this. Nah, man.
Give me that phone, dude.
Yeah, you had too much to drink, homie. Come on. And if you're sober, it's even worse. Like, hey, you know what I'm gonna do? Have some girls right behind me on the screen. It's like, Paul, you're like 46, 7 years old. That's not the move. And yes, you can do whatever you want, but don't put it on IG, Facebook Live when you work for a Disney company. So
I feel like that's too much to ask, Chase. Chief, you got anybody?
So this guy James Curry, I think it's Curry. He gifts his son the Lamborghini Urus.
That sounds expensive.
Lamborghini Urus.
You said 500,000?
Yes, sir. His son is 17 years old, who then, traveling at excess speed, kills a young girl in her car. They say he may or may not have been racing, but however, I think that no matter how much money you got, because at 17, you are not experienced enough, smart enough, anything enough to be driving a 640 horsepower car. I can't even imagine if I got hold of even 400 horsepower, 300 horsepower when I was 17 years old. We probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. You
would. He had that nice car.
Yeah, he had that nice car, man. Right before he wrapped it, around several light poles. So I think that's just the dummy of the week. You have to watch what you gift your kids, man. These kids, he should have got a 150 horsepower Honda Accord. Yeah, and just let them out there. But so
something they don't even make no more.
Man,
right.
Listen.
Exactly. I'm rich enough to get them to recommission a new car off an old whack one. You're welcome.
You get a Toyota Paseo.
Right. They don't even make this anymore. It's all right. I special ordered it. Jay King, who's your nominee, sir?
Oh, I got a two-headed monster this week. A two-headed jackass, rather. I won't say Khloe Kardashian because apparently a poolside picture of her leaked and it wasn't Photoshopped. It didn't get to the Kardashian photo studios in time to be blasted all over the internet. So, of course, this set her off and this was a big thing and a big deal. they're trying to create cease and desist orders for anybody sharing this photo around the internet. It's too late. It's the internet.
Good luck.
It's not like this was
Good
off
luck.
of your OnlyFans. Good luck. And we know you. Look, Chloe, baby, sis, girl, honey, love, doll. We know you don't look like that. And look, I'm not having a go, but you're the power forward for the Kardashian clan. We know you got a Frankenstein head. It's okay. We love you anyway.
Hey, maybe if she smelled
anyway.
like Quasimodo.
Then somebody would be happy, right? That would make somebody in the Warner Brothers world happy. But Chloe, let it go, baby. We know. Come on. Look, it ain't the top. It ain't up here what we interested in. It's all behind you. It's okay. We know what you look like. You still get. Hey, you can still get. Don't tell my wife. You can still get.
Hey, just don't put it on.
Then
IG
there's.
Live. It's fine.
We will not. We will not. Then there's Michael Rappaport. Oh, Michael Rappaport has been a bird that hovers around a carcass for a long time, if you catch my drift. I am so glad we're starting to get those nails and shut the door, like firmly seal that coffin shut on him. I don't wish him bad things. I just wish Michael Rappaport would go away since higher learning. I've been sick of that cat for a minute. And look, it's not just because he's like the hip hop white dude. No, it's not. It's because he's annoying as shit.
Jovon,
He's just
I have it on
irritating.
good authority. I have it on good authority from my boy Chet Hanks. It's gonna be a white boy summer.
Featuring these two goons. You want to talk away? These two are thugs. These two are thugs of cultural appropriation. I'm so sick of the both of them. Rappaport, man, was on what's the screaming match on Fox that does Fox Sports that doesn't. It's not Screaming A. It's the other two idiots that scream at each other for 2 hours about sports. Shannon Sharp and the skinny guy that hates LeBron. Yeah, the guy that hates LeBron because he's not LeBron.
Davis, are you talking about him?
Yeah, the guy that hates LeBron because he's not LeBron. Rappaport was on there, and here's the thing: I don't know if he was trolling or not, but he was crying like white girl tears, like people, I ever since this started, I go to walk my dog and people don't want to come over and say hi to me or pet my dog. I go to my favorite coffee place and, they were like, not today, cupcake. And, I didn't know whether he was trolling. I didn't know if he was being serious because, hey, with that, you don't know. When I say them, I mean people like that. You don't know. Like, I think he's adding fuel to the fire because nobody cares what Mike. It's not like Michael Rappaport's going to be in anybody's next Marvel movie or WandaVision or The Mandalorian or nothing like that, He ain't got nothing happening right now, so he needs this. It's just, I really want people to stop looking over there. It's like, Rappaport to me is like, remember that scene in Boogie Nights when they went to see, what's my man that was supposed to be Nash? When he went in the hills to see him to get some coke. He's like the kid with the firecrackers in the background. He won't stop being the distraction. He just will not stop himself. And that's because no one's saying, hey, go in the other room with that. That's Rappaport. And he's been that for 30 years. It's time. Let them go away. And commenting on sports. Who did you play for? Shut up. Go sit down, man. That's it. He raises my
excellent nominees, fellas. So many. I'm gonna give this week to The Truth though, because Paul needs to know better about IG Live and his phone. Because seriously, that's just ridiculous. All right, fellas. Thank you as always for rolling with me. Thank you all out there for listening. We're closing in on episode 200, so that means we're gonna have a big surprise for you very soon. But for now, this is Lyle's Movie Files. We're signing off. This episode of Lyle's Movie Files has been filed.